All right, guys, so this is your parabola, uh, parabola with vertex not at 0, 0. So we're basically doing the same thing we did yesterday, but we're going to have the vertex move. So it's not going to be at 0, 0. Big correction. I have to apologize. I made a mistake from yesterday's notes. So all the notes you took from the Desmos are right. Basically, it was just my notes. I screwed up here, so I got to apologize for that. When it's x squared, the parabola is up and down. And when it's y squared, it's left and right. So yesterday I gave you the opposite. So I just want to make that known. So everything, you guys did a good job. Everything was right necessarily. It's just flipped. So if it was x squared equals negative 4py, then it would open down. I had given you guys the opposite yesterday. So again, I apologize. Y squared equals negative 4px. This one would open left. So the good thing is today we're doing the same thing, just with the vertex moved. But again, I want to give you this big correction. Again, I apologize. That's my fault. I'm going to go over the 3 homework problems in detail right after this so you can see. Again, I apologize. But make sure you make this note in your notes. Y squared, positive to the right. So when p is greater than 0, it's going to open right. When p is less than 0, it's going to open left. Over here, when p is greater than 0, it's going to open up. And when p is less than 0, it's going to open down. So please, please, please copy that in your notes. I'm going to go over the 4 homeworks problems right now. All right, so first one here, we have y squared equals 16x. So again, this is with the correction. We know that our parabola should look like that. This should open right. So this is our basic shape. So I'm going to make a nice big little XY axis here. My vertex for this is going to be at 0, 0. So I'm going to put my vertex there. I'm now going to try to find the p-value. So I go from 16, I say 16 equals 4p divided by 4 divided by 4. P equals 4. So what that tells me is that there's going to be a distance of 4 between the vertex and the focus and the vertex and the directrix. So that means my focus goes here, 4 comma 0. That is my focus. And back here at x equals negative 4, that is my directrix. So that's my directrix. And my parabola is going to open like that. Then don't forget, we have our latus rectum, which is going to be 8 out, there and there. So my focus is going to be at 4, 0. My directrix is x equals negative 4. And my LR is 16. This piece is 8. This piece is 8. Piece is 8. And your p-value here is 4. That is number 1. All right, so here's number 2 here. It is x squared equals negative 20y. So since this is negative, it's going to open down like so. Again, see the big correction from the beginning. So I'm going to make a nice big XY axis here. My vertex is going to be at 0, 0. So my vertex is at 0, 0. I'm going to do negative 20 equals 4p. P is going to be negative 5. P is going to be negative 5 there. So that tells me that my focus should be 5 units away. So this is going to be 0, negative 5. So my focus is 0, -5, and my directrix should be 5 units away in the other direction. So here. So directrix should be y equals 5. And my LR is going to be 20. So my parabola is going to look like that. Where this is 10 and 10. My p-value here is 5. And there you go. There's number 2. All right, number 3 down here. So number 3, we have a focus at 0, -8, and a directrix at y equals 8. So I'm going to just graph this. My focus is down here at 0, -8. My directrix is up here at y equals 8. So very similar to the one we just did. That means my vertex has to be placed perfectly in between them. So if this is 8 units and this is 8 units, my vertex has to be at 0, 0. So my vertex is at 0, 0. My vertex is at 0, 0. And my parabola is going to look something like that. So since it looks like that, I know it's got to be x squared equals -4py. I just need to figure out what p is, and because I know it's 8 units here and here, it's going to be x squared equals -4 times p, which is 8y, which is x squared equals -32y. So that is your answer. So again, big correction. Here are the solutions to the homework. Big correction from here. Make sure you get that copied in your notes. Again, I apologize. All right, so now we're going to go over the new notes for today. So basically for today, we're doing the same thing, but with a vertex at hk instead of 0, 0. Now, keep in mind, we have our 2 different setups. And again, I know I just made that big correction. So again, when it's y squared, it opens left and right. When it's x squared, it opens up and down. So you get your vertex right from the equation, your h and your k. The only thing that's tricky is for the y squared one, they flip. So just be aware, this is k, this is h. And I'll highlight that when we do the problems. But just be aware of that. You get it right from here, hk, opposite sign, and we're going to go through some problems. All right, so here's the first one we're going to go through. I put a little note up here. P is the distance between the vertex and the focus, and the vertex and the directrix, so just make sure you keep that straight. So this is an x minus 3 squared. So that right there tells me my parabola is going to look like what? Is it going to open up or down, or is it going to go left and right? It should open up and down based on my new correction. So I know it's got to look something like this. Next, I need to get the vertex. So for the vertex, I have h here and I have k here. So that makes my vertex is going to be 3, -1. And I'm going to plot that in orange. So I'm going to go over 3, down 1. So there is my vertex. Now I need the p-value. So I do it the same way we did it the other day. 8 equals 4p. P equals 2. So that tells you that there's 2 units between the vertex and the focus and the vertex and the directrix. I know my parabola looks like this. So I'm going to put my focus in green. It's going to go 1, 2 right there. And my directrix is going to go back to, that's going to go 1, 2, back to this way. So my focus is at over 3 up 1. My directrix is the equation y equals -3. Y equals -3. Now I draw my parabola the same way I did the other day. How do I find out the width? I use the LR, the lattice rectum, which is 8. So that's going to be 4 units on each side. So from the focus, I'm going to go over 4 this way, over 4 this way, and now I have my parabola. And that is the first one. So at this point, I would like you to pause the video and try the next one. All right, so the next one here. So it's y plus 4 squared. So what that tells me is that this parabola, since it's a y squared and this is positive, is going to open right. It's going to open to the right. So the first thing I'm going to do is find my vertex. Now the common mistake here is that people will do -4, -2, but that's not right. This is your h way over here with the x. This is your k over here with the y. So h because it's with the x, k because it's with the y. So that makes your vertex -2, -4. -2, -4. So I'm going to plot that here. Go over 2, going to go down 4. There it is. Now I'm going to find my p. 12 equals 4p. P is 3. So that tells you that if I go to plot my focus, it's going to be 3 units away. So 1, 2, 3. And my directrix is going to be 3 units back. 1, 2, 3. So my focus is going to be at 1, -4. And my directrix is x equals -5. X equals -5. My LR is 12. So that means there's going to be 6 units from the focus. So up here, 3, 3. And down here, we're just going to have to estimate 3 and 3. So my parabola is going to look like that. So there you go. Those are your 2 graphing examples. All right, this next example, we're finding the equation given the focus and the vertex. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to plot the vertex and the focus. So the vertex is going to go over 5 down 2. I'm going to do that in orange. And the focus I'll do in green. I'm going to go over 7 and down 2. So what this tells me, since this is the vertex and this is the focus, that tells me the directrix has to be to the left of the vertex. But how far, you may say? All right, well, if between the vertex and the focus is 2 units, see there are 2 units, the directrix is going to be 2 units this way. So there's my directrix. So that tells me I'm going to have a sideways parabola. Since it's a sideways parabola, I know it's going to be something like y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. Now, keep in mind, we have our h and our k, and since it's opening to the right, I know this is positive. So now I'm going to put in my vertex. So that's going to be y plus 2 squared equals 4p times x minus 5. And I got that from right here. Got that from over here. Now I need to find the p-value. Well, if you look, I'm going to do this in red. What's the distance between the vertex and the directrix and the vertex and the focus? 2 units. So that means that 2 needs to go right there. So my final equation is y plus 2 squared equals 8, 4 times 2 times x minus 5. And now, since you know it's going to be 4 on each, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You can make the parabola, and you're done. All right, next one we got here, find the equation given the focus and the directrix. So the focus is 2, 4, the directrix, x equals -3. So what they didn't give us was the vertex. So we're going to have to find that in a second. I'm going to show you how. First thing I'm going to do, I'm going to put my focus in orange. So I'll do my focus in orange. So I'm going to go over 2, up 4 right here. My directrix I'll do in green. X equals -4. So you have to know that that is a vertical line at x equals -4. So now you're going to sit there and go, all right, well, how do I know where the vertex is? Well, one of the things I've been saying is the vertex has to be perfectly in between the directrix and the focus. So if you look here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 units of space between them. So the vertex has to be right in between. So 3 units away. Right here, because then there's 3 units over here and 3 units over there. So that makes my vertex -1, 4. There's my H, there's my K. That also tells me that my p-value right there is, what is it? It's how many units is that? Right there, it's 3 units because there's 3 units of space. So it's going to be a sideways parabola, looks something like that. It's going to open up to the right. So I know, again, it's going to be y minus k squared equals 4p times x minus h. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put my vertex in. So y minus 4 squared equals 4p x minus k. So that's going to be x plus 1. And now you just put in the p-value. The p-value I got from here, that's the space between the directrix and the vertex and the focus. So that's 3. So y minus 4 squared equals 4. Oops, not 4, sorry. 4 times 3, which is 12 times x plus 1. And that is your final answer. And then you can draw your parabola. So again, what you're going to do is you're going to find the vertex by looking at how far the directrix and the focus are. It was 6 units apart, so I know the vertex had to be smack dab in the middle at 3 units. From there, I plugged it in, found my p-value. All right, so the last 2 examples are going to be focused around completing the square. We're going to complete the square to find the vertex, focus, directrix, and then graph the parabola. So first thing you're going to do here is you're going to move the 12x and the 23 to the other side. So then you'll have y squared plus 2y plus, you're going to leave a blank, equals -12x plus 23. Now we're going to complete the square. If you remember, when we complete the square, we cut this middle term, or the b, in half. So what's half of 2? 1. What's 1 squared? 1. So I'm going to add a 1 here, and I'm going to add a 1 here. So again, real quick, how did I get this 1? I look at the b, which is this. I half b, which is half of 2, which is 1, square it, get 1. So now I have y squared plus 2y plus 1 equals -12x plus 24 now. Now I'm going to factor this side, so I have y plus 1 squared equals -12x plus 24. Now it's starting to look like, what we've been doing. It's starting to look like that form that we've been using. Except over here, I kind of got to figure out what that 4p is, right? I need that number in front. So what I'm going to do, I'll leave the left, and I'm actually going to factor something out of this so it just says x plus or minus something. So what can I factor out of here and here? I'm going to pull out a -12. So when I pull a -12 out of -12x, I'm left with x minus 2. And now I'm in the correct form where I can get the vertex and all that stuff. So again, I complete the square, and then I look for a GCF over here. So I have x minus 2, pull that out, and now I'm good to go. So that makes my vertex at what? Look here, h, there's k. So my vertex is at 2, -1. And I'm going to do -12 equals 4p, get p is -3. And now I'm going to start graphing my parabola. So it is a y squared, so I know it's going to open left or right. And since this is negative, it's going to open to the left. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph my vertex over 2, down 1. My focus is going to be 3 units away. 1, 2, 3, right here. And my directrix is going to be 3 units back, right here. So my focus should be at -1, -1. My directrix, x equals 5. X equals 5. And my LR is 12, so that's going to be 6 units on each side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And there is my parabola. So that's pretty much everything. That's the whole thing. So pause this video and try the next one on your own. All right, last one here, completing the square. So y squared minus 2y, gonna leave a blank. Gonna add 8x and minus 1 to the other side. It's gonna be equal -8x plus 1. Now I'm going to complete the square. Again, half of -2 is 1. Square it, you get 1. So there you go. So that gives you y squared minus 2y plus 1 equals -8x. That actually cancels, the ones cancel out. That should be a -1. I apologize, because I minus the 1 from over here. Now I'm going to factor. Y minus 1 squared equals -8x. And I'm actually done right here. I don't have to pull anything out over here because it's just a -8x. But what does that mean for my vertex? Well, for my vertex, that means it's just really like x minus 0. So this would be 0, 1. So your vertex is going to be at 0, 1. It's y squared, so how is it going to open? It is going to open to the left, right, left. Oops, I'm sorry. I actually made a mistake. This should be +8. Oops. +8. And this should be +8. So it should be 8. So that, why is that important that I messed up that sign? And why is it important to fix it? Because that's going to change which way it's opening. So I added the 8x here, added the 1. So just to recap, add 8x here, add the 1. It's all positive on this side. So this is really equals 8x. And then, which is like x minus 0. So that tells me it's going to open to the right because this is positive. I got to get my p-value now. My p-value is going to be 8 equals 4p. P equals 2. So my focus is going to go 2 units this way here. My directrix 2 units back there. So now my focus is at over 2 up 1. Directrix x equals -2. LR is 8, so up 4, down 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. There's your final parabola. And now we're all done. So again, I apologize for the correction in the beginning. I'm actually going to have a Google Meet. I'll post the times I would like everybody to go to just so we can clarify this issue. Again, I'm sorry about the screw up. I'm going to attach yesterday's notes also so you can see what we did yesterday and fix our last class, the correct notes. So thanks.